Welcome to part two of the interview between myself, Eric Garrison, and Becky Hanner of Commercial Asset Services, where we talk about Moblz and the Moblz platform. So Becky, one of the questions I frequently get is, why is an app like Moblz important to property managers?
Even pre-COVID, it was so important because the property owners really want a way to differentiate their property from other properties. Everybody's competing for the same tenants, and it's funny because one of the phrases we bounce away around at BOMA now is that it's the property manager's job to help the tenants find employees. And there is reason for that, because the workforce is shrinking drastically. So these companies are all vying for the very best and brightest to come work for them. So now HR is more involved than ever before in site selection. And HR is looking for, some good nuggets to be able to entice people to come work for their company. And the location of where they're going to be is one of these things. So any amenities that come to the property are really important to make, they're important to bring employees to come work for the tenants, and that helps the tenants decide to go to a different property because they're going to be differentiated. Well, by the same token, here you've got these employees that another BOMA phrase is make time for their weekend, because these workers want to be somewhere that if their life is convenient. They don't want to be a slave to work. They want to be able to go into work, get it done, go home, and they don't want to run around on the weekend and do all their errands. They want to do their errands while they're at work.
Right.
Here come the mobile amenities. So, they can fill that gap. Well, the mobile amenities want to be at properties where they make the most money. So the more employees the more announcements, the more that these employees are aware of what amenities are at their properties, the more are going to be coming out and taking advantage of the amenities. So the service providers are going to be making more money at these properties. So now it's a desirable property. It's so synergistic. It's a big circle. It just goes around and around and around that builds and builds from one to another.
When a prospective tenant is working with their broker and looking at different spaces, does it frequently come up that this space here and this space here are very similar in the cost per square footage? Does it really come down to, I'm guessing two things: locations and amenities?
Yes, absolutely. And I would say that post-COVID is going to be even more important than ever before. All these things are very important. Amenities were big, sustainability is big, health and wellness is big, and Moblz fits right in the health and wellness, situation, because, people are, when they go in the office, they're not going to want to, have to leave the building, touch all these surfaces to leave the building, go to some place and pick up food or go do an errand and stand in line with all these other people. I mean, they're just not going to want to do that.
Right.
So this fits in so easily with the whole idea of health and wellness and well.
And that's where things like our Moblz app really is a nice addition for the property manager and those brokers to say, we partnered with Moblz and we have this app to let people know about what's going on the property and show that that property manager cares about those mobile amenities and cares about the occupants and those tenants to be able to keep this vibrant place. I mean, what you don't want to do is have a big, beautiful place that's not being utilized and not attracting the occupants to it.
Yeah.
That people don't want to go in. You don't want to have a space that people don't want to go into, the office place. What we're seeing here, we operate throughout the Southeast a lot. So North Carolina, and we're also down in, Texas and Orlando are kind of our hot markets right now. And here in our market, we've got game development company Epic. Everybody wants to go work for Epic. So they're already attracting employees that may only be, 17 years old and not able to go work for them just yet. But they're getting the lineup of the resume. So other companies in the area are having to compete against that.
Yeah.
So that's really building an interesting, paradigm here. And one thing we've been, with the app and, successful with Moblz is we take and look at what the occupants is what we call them, the people who actually work for the companies, the tenants, which are the companies leasing the space, and the property managers, as well as the vendors. So we look at the sides of all three of those legs on the table and try to be the mediator to make them happy from the different silos.
Oh yeah, and it saves the management group so much time for scheduling. I remember our beta site, there was an employee that was spending literally 30 hours a week. Now there were 3 different business parks, but 30 hours a week handling and trying to schedule trucks, and then often trucks will cancel at the last minute, so they'd have to try to find someone else to take their place and then notify the tenants, and the tenants were not happy about it. One thing that Moblz does is we have alternate slots, so that if a truck should happen to break down on the way to an event, or the night leaving, going to the commissary at night after servicing, certain gigs, that they can go ahead and the Moblz app say, I can't make it, so this alternate's immediately notified, they can accept. So here the property manager can be asleep, it might be 2 o'clock in the morning, and everything's being done while they sleep. How terrific is that? I mean, it's just...
And then with the app, we do a push notification to let people know this particular truck's not coming, this one is coming. We're also seeing one of the pivots here with COVID, how important things such as a link to online ordering and the menu is. We don't want people walking up and handling paper menus anymore. The notification, that link to digitally get the menu is so important for everybody.
Yeah, people will want to eat outside and be able to see people, or they might bring it back to their office. They might do either one, but it's the standing in line they don't want to do. So if they can go ahead and pre-order and prepay and then just go to the truck and pick up their food, they love it.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen nearly every truck adopt, almost touchless payment, or touchless payment, which is really good. Where they've got the pads that you don't even have to touch a lot of times. So,
one thing that's interesting to me is when we were at the beta site getting Moblz started, I remember you and I stood out at the food trucks, and we had QR codes, so that people could upload the app to their phones. And it was so funny because, we almost felt like, oh, I'm a vendor, I'm bringing something, I'm gonna over here and I'm gonna, be harassing these people. But instead, once they knew what it was, it's like, oh my gosh, give me a whole handful. I've got to go put this in the lunchroom at our office because nobody knows about this. Our office manager didn't tell us about this.
Yeah, it was fun there, and another place where we've done the in-person events where we have got people to sign up for the app, because the first time everybody was, yes, I want this, I'm, of course no cost to them, and it actually just notifies them, when the trucks are going to be there and who's going to be there and what food they have. The first time people wanted it. Second time people were like, yes, I want this, give me a couple. The third time it was a lot of people going, oh, I have it. Yeah. So it was definitely a pivot point there where we saw that so many people transition from being, I need this, I want this, to yes, I enjoy it.
So now that the property managers have so much of a larger contact list for their buildings, when they need to communicate with these building occupants, they can. So for example, if a building has water out, and they can notify, they don't have to just notify their number one main point of contact, who may or may not be at their desk, who may or may not let their employees know. Now, hey, if the bathrooms are shut down because there was an emergency, because the water had to be cut off, everybody knows about it. Or not everybody, because not everybody will sign up for the app, but enough of the building
builds a better viral when you tell 10 people who are the food truck eaters, they're going to tell the other 10 people who don't have the app installed.
Absolutely.
So, and that's very important. Now, one of the things that is also coming up is, what do we see here with COVID? And unfortunately, we are still seeing that, today is April 15th, and the occupation of a lot of the buildings is still kind of lower than what we had expected to be at this time. But also we're seeing a lot of people who are not visiting and using the food trucks and the mobile amenities as much. We're seeing a little bit of an uptick to it, but here in North Carolina, it's a little slower. We're seeing a little heavier down in Florida. So I think it's just a lagging, but one thing that we do notice is every time we do an event, the people are very happy that we are doing the events. The appreciation and the feedback that we get that these are still happening from business owners and the food trucks, and I have to tell you, the food trucks are very thrilled to still be rolling. There's been a lot of food trucks that have gone out of business. There's a lot that have had to close their doors permanently because of COVID, so that the ones that are rolling are just super appreciative and happy to still be on the road serving their food and making a living.
Yeah, the good news is that there are that many large companies are now making announcements as to when they'll be coming back to work, and a lot of them are in the summer.
Yeah.
So that kind of allows some of the smaller companies to feel like it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, Google's saying that they're going to repopulate, opens the door for a lot of people in the tech space, and Epic Games doing the same thing in our space and stuff. So
the building owners have really, they're really thinking, what can they do to make sure that they make their buildings very inviting for people to come back to the office, and they've tasked the property management groups to think about this as well, and the people that are leasing for them. And so amenities is like, it's a big thing on the table. Everybody knows that they need to have great amenities to be able to get these employees to be able to come back to the office. And this just fits right in line with that very well.
Yeah, we're seeing some buildings that, let's say, had a single occupant taking, let's say, an average of 4 floors. What we're seeing is that single tenant is now looking to sublease or give up a floor and downsize. So a lot of the buildings we work with around, like Imperial and RTP, we are starting to see new tenants coming in, which is nice. So that space is filling pretty quickly. It's not like we're seeing a whole lot of vacancy space popping up. It is getting new leaseholders and everything. So
I think we're going to see that. That's really interesting. I mean, it's been interesting to see. I mean, everybody knows that real estate's going to look a little bit different. They're just not really sure exactly what it's going to look like. And the bottom line is it's different company to company. I mean, some companies, are enlarging their footprints, and some are contracting. And, I mentioned flex space earlier. That's going to be a big thing because people are not really sure, are they expanding, are they contracting, and when do they need more space and when don't they need more space. So I think a lot of the buildings will be offering that.
I think that's going to be a trend. I'm a little biased considering we also expanded our space here at Moblz in the tech company, and that whole center section where the kitchen is the flex space. That's meant to be where somebody can drop in, bring everybody has laptops here, of course, and come work for the day and have the event. And also it's why we have the outdoor patio space that now. So it's not that we all are sitting around in a small room having a lunch together. It's now for that outdoor space has become much more valuable, which is why we moved from the floor we were on to a floor with patio space.
Outdoor space is important, and it has been even pre-COVID. That's why more buildings are being designed now with balconies, rooftop terraces, true amenity space, a lot more green space. It's interesting when Moblz has put together the landing page for the beta center, Imperial Center, which was our beta site, and we highlighted all of the amenities of this beautiful park. There's so many amenities, and the number one place that's hit on that more than anything else is their walking trails, because there's so many walking trails.
It's funny, I was just mentioning that to somebody yesterday, going, our highest viewed page is the 3.25 mile walking trail around the complex, and I have to believe that that's the occupants going to it and looking at the trail, as well as the prospects. Because it's very high ranked in Google, and you see the fact that page is getting probably 10 times the number of views. So that's probably the most valuable asset. Could just be that asphalt and mulch walking trail around the location.
And the fixed amenities, if there's a fixed cafe on the site too, find that Moblz is a wonderful thing for them as well, because you have set it up so that these fixed amenities, such as the the cafe has the right to go in and put in what their daily special is every day. So the tenants, they actually get more business because the building occupants get to see that every day.
Well, we gave them a marketing channel,
Mhm.
which is something property managers hadn't done as efficiently before. They're like, yes, we're going to protect the fixed space, amenities like the cafe, but we're not going to really help them. We're going to tell 10 people that they have a special for lunch today, and those 10 people are going to tell 2 people. Here, we're telling hundreds of people about that lunch special. Well, I hope you enjoyed this interview between Becky Hanner of Commercial Asset Services and myself on Moblz and the different applications that we provide, the different services we provide, and what we do for property management. Again, if you find this episode valuable, please subscribe to our channel, give us a like, give us a thumbs up, and leave us a comment. We love hearing from you and love your feedback. If this is something that interests you, feel free to visit Moblz, moblz.com. Hit our contact page there, and you'll get in contact with Becky and myself to see how we can help your property. Again, our packages are designed to work with any type of commercial property, and we are expanding not just in North Carolina, Florida, and Texas. We're expanding throughout the country. So even if you're in another area, go ahead and reach out to us, and we can tell you whether we can help you out today or help you out in the near future. Love to hear from you. Thank you.